So today is day 106, and like I said yesterday, it's not surprising that it was a bit of a hard day. I went for a gorgeous swim in the morning with my mum and sister and friend at the beach, and that was really beautiful. And then we set off to the airport and ended up getting slammed by Jetstar for extra baggage. So I didn't realize that they don't let you pay for an extra bag when you get there. So I was charged a whole heap of money, and it was really upsetting. However, that wasn't really what was upsetting. It was just that, I had to get my bags back from them and repack them and leave a whole lot of stuff behind and all of this kind of thing, because they wanted to charge me $250 for a really small carry-on. And I didn't get time to say goodbye to my mum and my sister properly, and I had to say goodbye to them really quickly and then run through security, and I was crying, and it was just really upsetting. And there was a lot of tears coming, and there was a lot of upset that was coming, and I didn't really get to process it properly and be with my mum and sister and have a cry with them and say goodbye properly. So I just kept on crying uncontrollably whilst I was standing in the line to get on the plane, and when I got on the plane. And it was interesting because I was standing there, and I'm in public, it was really busy, lots of people around me, and I'm crying, and I'm trying not to cry, but I'm also just like, fuck it, I need to cry. And it was just so interesting to watch the physical reaction in my body and how my body felt when it wasn't able to cry properly, and how not being able to cry properly actually made the feeling even more. It made the feeling bigger, and so it felt quite uncontrollable. Whereas if I was able to just like really cry and let it out, I would have been okay. However, not being able to really cry properly, my whole body just felt so tense. And at one stage I felt, my heart felt really weird, and my chest felt really weird, and I couldn't actually breathe properly, and I started to feel a bit sick. It was so interesting to watch what happens when we don't allow ourselves to fully feel the emotion that we need to feel. And right now it reminds me of watching somebody who hadn't been allowed to show her emotion and didn't understand how to show her emotion properly. And when she needed to cry at one stage, she was so uncontrollable in her crying that she couldn't stop, and she completely lost control. But the cry didn't come out fully, it just kind of stayed in her body, and she was shaking, and you could still see she was trying to push the cry down, and she wasn't letting it come out. And that kind of suppression of emotion is really, really unhealthy. So as I was standing there crying and trying not to cry and watching my body react, I was kind of thinking of how, so often in this world we're not allowed to show our emotions, especially in public. We're not allowed to show our emotions. Or it's not that we're not allowed, it's just that we don't, and that it's kind of taboo in public because it makes people feel uncomfortable. And it's actually a really unhealthy way of being. And it also reminded me of this message that I got from somebody a while ago that I've spoken about a few times, how she said that if you're having a hard time and you're trying to lead and be a leader to people, if you're having a hard time, you don't let it out. And I just think that is such a bizarre mindset, to not allow anybody to see us in our hardship and our pain and our grief and our despair. It's very, very strange to me to think that we should only let people see us in our joy and our happiness and our ease and our grace. Because what that actually does, when we only allow people to see us in our good moments and our positive moments, it actually cuts us off from being able to express really our full range of emotion and our full rainbow of life. And it's also putting ourselves above other people and really disconnecting ourselves from people and not allowing them to see who we really are and what really happens in our life on a day-to-day basis. So it was a really difficult thing to get on that plane and have this emotion that I was feeling so strong and I couldn't feel it fully, and sit there on my own and not be able to say goodbye properly. And then, you know, I got on the plane and there was all these people walking on the plane with all these really huge carry-on bags, and I know that they were all carrying a whole lot more than I was and that they hadn't been charged for it, and it really pissed me off. So Jetstar, I'm never going to fly with Jetstar again. That's it for me and Jetstar. I was really unimpressed and they were really rude, and it was just a really difficult experience. However, as I left my mum's house today, I read this little kind of saying in this book. It was the saying that is, if you're given lemons, make lemonade. And I was thinking today, okay, out of this experience, how can I make something good? What is my lesson out of this experience? And there was a really good lesson in that, and that is that I tend to sometimes just push things aside as if they're going to be okay, even though when I know they're not going to be okay, I'm thinking, oh, I'll just be able to get away with it. And so I don't attend to it. I don't give attention to it, even though I know that it's a problem. So I left my mum's house this morning with my mum and my sister, knowing that I was overweight. And I was thinking, oh, I'll just, you know, it'll be all right, it'll be okay, I'll just ignore it. However, it wasn't okay, and I've been warned by people about Jetstar before, that they're actually really strict and really harsh with their baggage. And I just thought it'll be okay, but it wasn't okay. And so, you know, that was a big lesson for me, because I often do that with lots of things, and it's kind of a disconnection and an avoidance mechanism that I have. So it was a good opportunity for me to look at that one for sure, and I'm sure there's other, you know, bits of lemonade I can make out of the experience. And I've arrived in Sydney at the Mascot Suites, and it's beautiful here. It's a really great place. The price is really amazing for what it is, and I'm happy with this place. So I arrived in Sydney with a really nice place to stay, and I'll wake up in the morning king size bed, and off I'll go to the States. So that's day 106.